what I said early on. If you go back on my channel, which I was now bragging about for some reason, if you go back on my channel, you'll see me talking about it early on. What I think the Bears are going to go through is I think that the Bears are not going to be a great team. They're going to go through this season and they're going to get better and better and better as the season goes on. I was willing to accept that into last year and into the beginning of this year, that the Bears would not be a great team. I didn't know they were going to be as bad as they were when this started. I thought they'd be prepared, but they were not. But I thought that what we would end up seeing here would be a team that was ready for success. We didn't get that, but we got a team that improved as the year went on. We ended the season last 8 games 5-3 after losing the first 4 games. We came along. But here's the other thing. Who did that before us? The Philadelphia Eagles. And where did the Philadelphia Eagles end up that next year? They ended up in the Super Bowl. So that's what I think ends up happening here for the Bears. Now, that's difficult for me to just sit here and say, look, guys, we're going to be in the Super Bowl next year. I don't think we're going to be in the Super Bowl next year. I want to be a competitive team that has an opportunity. Give us a shot at the playoffs, get into the playoffs, and then let whatever happens, happens. Be ready to be a better team as we continue to build, continue to grow, continue to improve, continue to add depth to the roster so that late in the game we're not tired, so that we have enough running backs so that when somebody goes down, we've got the next man up. Continue to do that. And by the way, just in case something happens with Justin Fields, something catastrophic, I have every faith that Tyson Bagent will be a serviceable backup in that regard. So I really feel like the team is in that right place. And all we have to do is get to the end of this line, the end of that line being the end of next season, and the Bears will be in the playoffs and we will have a shot. And that's all you can ask. Once you have the puncher's chance, once you've started to put down some opponents, once you've got an offensive coordinator who recognizes the weaknesses of other teams and adapts his play calling to suit the needs of his quarterback and the changing variables of each game. When you have somebody like that, when you have a defensive coach who's actually calling the plays, or even if Maddie and Bleeves is calling the plays, if you have a defensive coordinator who's getting everything ready so that every piece fits and that everybody's ready to win, then boom. And I want to just stress this one more time. I've been talking about this for a long period of time because a lot of people always say, well, whatever, they didn't make the playoffs or anything like that. And you know, look, fair enough. But there are 5 games that sometimes you win close games, sometimes you lose close games, sometimes you split close games. Well, the Bears lost every close game this year, really. They didn't really – there were games that they should have won. They were ahead 5 times, should have won 5 times, right? If they had done that, I want you guys to just think about this. This is a 7-10 team. If the Bears had won those 5 close games, and that was one of the Lions games, one of the Vikings games, one of the Green Bay games, not even the Green Bay game, by the way, the game. There were so many of them that were just like right there, right? We win those games, and this is a 12-5 team that wins the division and is in the playoffs, okay? That is how close this team really is. We just don't see it because we saw 7-10. We're used to losing, and now we're looking at all the reasons that we suck and why every coach sucks and why every player sucks and why we have to keep our number 1 quarterback because he makes us go, whoo, shit, I can't believe he just did that. Or Montez Sweat because we're like, whoo, that. Do you know what I mean? So we're not that far away, you know, rolling in the right direction on a couple of those games would have turned us into a 10-7 team, and that would have been that would have been into the playoffs, not a Super Bowl contender, I don't think, but it would have put us into the playoffs. And you know who's been in the playoffs? The Green Bay Packers. Because they were the last seed in. This would have bumped them out because we would have been in there. So we are so close. And Bears fans in Green Bay, Wisconsin says, if Fields doesn't get hurt, 2 more wins. That's not true because we ended up going 2-2 while he was out for those 4 games. We wouldn't have gone 4-0 in those games. I don't think so. I don't think that would have represented maybe 1. I think we just needed to. I don't think that, by the way, Fields not great in the 4th quarter, but I want to also say, I think, and it is my opinion, by the way, I don't think that Fields is tremendous in that 4th quarter, but he's feeling the pressure all game long. So I don't think that's it. I think it's really bad play calling from Luke Getsy. I think that Luke Getsy was always playing not to lose and not to win. And guys, I want to point out what I mean by that. There's a certain philosophy that I have, which I think that every football team should have, because if they don't, they're idiots. But if you, during the flip, want to defer because you want the ball at the end of the second half because you want to build momentum, but you also want the ball to close out the first half, right? So in the second quarter, as it's getting short, you want to score. Do you know why? Because that's a 14-point swing for your team. That's motivation. You want to close out the first half with a touchdown. You want to come back in the second half. You want to receive the ball and you want to score another touchdown. That is a 14-point swing. In college football, that's what separates the good teams from the teams that just can't win national titles. That is how you do it. Now, a team that does something like that, the Patriots. The Patriots are foot on the gas. They never played to manage the games. When they played to manage the games, by the way, fact check me if you don't see this, by the way, but the times that Bill Belichick tried to game manage because he didn't feel like he could pump the gas is when the Patriots didn't score very many points in Super Bowls, and they ended up losing those Super Bowls. Now, the Patriots won 6 Super Bowls, but they were in, I want to say, 9 Super Bowls, and they lost 3 of them. And every time you go back and watch, you will see that they were conservative and they were running the ball a little more than they normally did because they took off the gas. Luke Getsy the gas pedal in the fourth quarter, unless it was a show of desperation to try to catch up when something bad or catastrophic was happening. And also, we end up as a team of fans, if you will, blaming. By the way, hit the like button on your way in if you're coming in. It helps me, push me up in the algorithm so that people watch this video a little bit later on. But at the end of the game, the defense is struggling because the offense is not scoring enough. Motivate the defense to keep that score down, and you will see something just fantastic out of this team. But every time, we end up don't score, and we don't score, and we have an opportunity to knock it out. Guys, very simple. If in that the Lions game, the first game that we had lost, there were 2 opportunities to score, to turn it into a 3-possession game. If it was a 3-possession game, we would have won that game. The end. When you have opportunity, you can't run on first down, run on second down, run on third down, punt on fourth down. You can't do shit like that. That's why Luke Getsy had to go, right? You don't want to, like, you're desperate. You want the teams to be guessing. Everybody knew the Bears were just going to run, so they piled up against the run because they knew that Justin Fields wasn't going to beat them with their arm. Not because Justin Fields can't beat him can't beat you with his arm, but because Luke Getsy can't call passing plays down the field to give you an opportunity to win. And then if he does, and it's an obvious passing play, pin your ears back and go for Justin Fields. And guess what? The offensive line can't hold up. Do you know why? Because you're able to pin your ears back and you're able to just go and you don't have to guess. Luke Getsy is and was the problem in every possible way. So, but when you have killer instinct and you don't take your feet off the gas and you score and you push and you continue to drive and you continue to make plays until that game is completely out of reach. If you do that, the Bears win those games, the end. And then the Bears look like one of the great comeback stories ever. That's just the way that it works. The last game against the Packers, Fields started 6-6 to 5 different targets. And in true Getsy fashion, he took the ball out of Fields' hands. He did it every time we had the lead. That is exactly right. That's I'm saying right here. Luke Getsy does not understand how to annihilate a team. He doesn't understand. Now, who do you want to replace Luke Getsy? Who I want to replace Luke Getsy is Tommy Rees from Alabama, because I love what he did with quarterbacks. But here's the thing. And Bear fan, if you didn't catch the beginning of this, Chase Daniel is looking for the quarterback coach position in Chicago. Fantastic hire. Hire that man right away if you're Ryan Poles. Quarterback whisperer, a quarterback who played here in Chicago, hire that man and let him be the whisperer for Justin Fields. But that being the case, I no longer need Tommy Rees. Now I can look at somebody like Shane Waldron or Clint Kubiak, who they are interviewing. Both of those guys have had very successful runs of developing quarterbacks. Now, so was it all Getsy's fault? No, it is not all Getsy's fault. Justin Fields has some responsibility. Justin Fields does not adapt, and he doesn't make quick reads and quick decisions. However, I do want to say that Jalen Johnson was quick to point out that they don't practice situational things in their practices. They only just do basic vanilla practices. And I think Justin Fields needed to be in game situations where he can continue to develop and do that. And I don't think that he had the right coach. I don't think Anthony Giannakko was to make it better, and Luke Getsy was coaching him to make those decisions better. So no, it's not all Getsy's fault. The play calling, however, Shannon, is entirely Luke Getsy's fault because Justin Fields is not allowed to audible. And imagine this: if you at least had a lot of read option in your playbook for somebody like Justin Fields, then he would have the ability to make those decisions, but you didn't even have that. So, and by the way, I'm not saying that the read option is going to redefine the NFL or anything like that, by the way. I'm not saying, but in football, you give the quarterback the option so that the quarterback can look at the field, survey the field, figure out what's going on, and make the best play. But they weren't doing that. They weren't giving Justin Fields an opportunity to use his skill set and to be successful. And they were making the obvious plays on the obvious downs and doing everything to the worst that they are, that is the worst. Okay. So what I'm praying for in this upcoming season is that we recognize a couple of the problems that we have to give Justin every opportunity for success so that he can fix those errors. And by the way, to go back to Shannon right here, the problem that has to develop, he has to screw up. He has to audible out and he has to make some screwed up plays to realize, I don't want shit anymore. Like that's, the do. You have to give a person a chance to fail so that they can learn how to succeed. But he's got to be able to do it. He's a man. And look, Justin Fields is a man of so far impeccable character, drive, fortitude. Like the guy has up with us as fans. This guy has been a beacon of light in the community. He works hard every day. He keeps his head down. He doesn't get into trouble. He focuses on what matters. But I don't think we've served him right with our coaching. And I hope that changes right here. And I'm going to leave this with that right there. Guys, I just want you to know that I think that Justin Fields is the future of the Bears franchise. And I would like to see it play out. Now, if it doesn't, at the end of this, I am a Chicago fan. I don't care who the quarterback is. It doesn't matter to me if Caleb Williams is the quarterback, Drake May is the quarterback, Jaden Daniels, Justin Fields. I am a Chicago Bears fan before I'm a Justin Fields fan. However, I do think that Justin Fields is the man for Chicago. I do think that is the case. You know what I mean? Don't get me started on this one. I can't tell you. Here's what I will tell you, okay? And I was wrong, by the way, too. I want to say this. I was furious in that draft, okay? And nobody knew Mahomes was going to be Patrick Mahomes, by the way. But what we know 100% was that the best quarterback in that draft was not Mitchell Trubisky. It was Deshaun Watson. And Deshaun Watson, he had what we call a roaming D and got himself into a lot of problems and a lot of trouble along the way. And that would not have served the Bears very well. And, he would have ended up. So Mahomes was the third best option in that draft, by the way. So, or so looked. Now, the one thing that you can say about Mitchell Trubisky is that was a stupid move, even though he had a great season, because that was his only, you only have games to look at. With Mahomes, you had 40 games. He had started for a lot of games. You knew what you were getting. With Deshaun Watson, God damn it, Deshaun Watson was a monster. He was a monster. He made all the plays. He made all the throws. He could run. Like I'm telling you now, that Deshaun Watson. So by the way, again, I am from Louisville. Lamar Jackson is my GOAT, but Deshaun Watson was the better quarterback. I don't think he is now. I think he's just like a phenomenal guy. Like this way, Lamar Jackson is Michael Jordan, but Lamar Jackson has the same type of drive and motivation as Michael Jordan. He works on everything that he's not good at. He focuses on his weaknesses to make them strengths and stuff like that, and that's fantastic. And he has this unbelievable ability. It's possible, this is all said and done, that we're looking at Lamar Jackson winning a couple of Super Bowls, and be famous or something like that. And Deshaun Watson, maybe not. I don't know. I thought at the time, Deshaun Watson was the better quarterback. The end of story. You know what I mean? So that was, and yeah. And by the way, this guy, you're pointing out here, Deshaun Watson and Justin Fields had very similar college careers. The difference here, Justin Fields is a quality man. Character and stuff like that. I'm not sure he has that killer instinct. I am sure Deshaun Watson had that killer instinct because I saw it game after game after game. I'm a big Louisville football fan, so I'm a big ACC college football fan, and I saw Deshaun Watson going out there and just killing people, just making the throws, making the plays. He had a killer instinct. I'm not so sure that Justin Fields wasn't just a product of just being great, on a great team. So that's all I'm saying right there. And I'm not, again, I don't say that Justin Fields or Deshaun Watson is better, but at the time in 2018, Deshaun Watson was the best quarterback that there was. And it was a mistake for this team to take Mitchell Trubisky instead of Deshaun Watson. Nobody saw anything on tape that would have made that a logical decision. Okay. And I got my own opinion about it, which I won't say here. But anyway, guys, I want to thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate each and every one of you. I think the future is bright for the Chicago Bears. We're going to be back on Monday, and we're going to keep this going, and we're going to figure out what is going on in this Chicago Bears universe, and we're going to find out what this team is going to do. And I'm going to tell you guys right now, the Bears are going to be phenomenal next year, and we're going to be here for it. But until then, you guys have a good day, and we'll talk to you again very, very soon.